Recording.
Hello, everyone. Are you finding yourself in a position where you want to make some change in your life, or you're making some important decisions, or you have a project that you're working on that perhaps isn't going along the way that you'd like? You're feeling a little stuck, overwhelmed, uncertain, maybe insecure, if you're really honest with yourself about what you're doing and the choices that you're making. Well, you've come to the right place. We are here to offer you some tips and suggestions today. I'm Kelly Myszkowski of Inner Light Transformational Coaching and Craniosacral Therapy, and my colleague Caren Cooper is here with me today. Caren is a trauma-informed mindset coach. We both work with clients who are in that position where they need to make some important decisions and choices and changes in their life to be healthy and happy and make their contribution, but they haven't been able to get the results that they want. And we help them go from that place of being stuck and overwhelmed and uncertain and insecure into feeling more confident and having the clarity that they need and knowing themselves well and what their guidance is to guide them into decisions that are correct for them from a place of clarity and feeling really confident about who they are and what they're doing. So we each work a little bit differently, and we each see things a little bit differently sometimes, but ultimately offer that kind of a change for people. So Caren and I have been chit-chatting a little bit before we started recording here about how we've both faced this in our lives at different times and maybe found ourselves in a place of being stressed and unhappy and not being able to move forward and not really sure what to do next. And then it's often natural to look at the outside world for ideas and suggestions and maybe even hire a coach or two or 10 or participate in a program or buy a book or whatever it is to try to help yourself, and then begin feeling a little bit overwhelmed because there's so much information out there and you don't know what to do next. And maybe just none of it feels right. So, what I found is important is to know yourself really well, to be able to tune into what your inner thoughts are that are going on maybe in the back of your head that you're dismissing, that are your real clue to what's holding you back. And then also knowing how your guidance system works, that all-knowing part of yourself that I call your soul, that has a much bigger perspective than the human mind has, and has much more information to help guide you forward to what's right for you. And it can be complex because we're all unique beings. We're all wired differently. There are a lot of similarities, but there are a lot of differences as well. For us to tap into that guidance system that I call your intuition in a very broad perspective. But what Caren and I were also talking about that comes into play here is knowing what is actually holding you back. The better you know yourself, the more you can tune into, am I being triggered? Is that why something doesn't seem like the right choice or I'm avoiding it? Is there some sort of resistance there that I genuinely need to deal with that's holding me back? Is there a fear? Is there a belief that I'll fail, or a belief that people won't like me, or a belief that I don't deserve it, or something along those lines in our beliefs? Are we considering a particular choice because that's what everybody else does, and we've been taught in some way, or we've learned in some way that that's what you're supposed to do, that's what you should do, and therefore it should work for me, but it isn't? Or are you really being guided that a particular choice isn't correct for you? And then sometimes when a particular choice seems like it's correct, it's the right thing, it feels better, is it because you're avoiding the thing that you actually need to do or need to walk through or need to experience? Or is it because that actually is the better way for you to go? So the more you can know yourself, the more that you can get past your limiting conditioning and patterns and beliefs, the more you can free your mind from those thought patterns that judge certain situations or choices as being correct or incorrect or neutral or whatever, and be open to being guided to what is your best choice, your highest option. And sometimes things are equal. It's just a matter of making a choice. Yes. But then you can begin to move forward into the life that you truly desire, that you're truly designed to live with confidence and clarity and direction. So by working through the deep dive, what am I really thinking? What am I really believing? And is that really true? And really true doesn't mean, yes, I have years and years and years of this pattern repeating itself and proving to me that it's true. It's true with a capital T, not our little truths of learned patterns and beliefs that do not work for us. And work through those things and allow them to release and get to explore, who am I really without all of that? Who am I really and what do I really want? What are my true gifts and talents? And take any situation, any suggestion, any method, whatever it is, and decide, is this correct for me as is? Is it correct for me at all? Is it something that I really want to pursue? Is it not for me? Is it something I want to do in a different way or some version of it? Especially for those that are in business and making choices for themselves and which elements of traditional business operation work for them and what things maybe just don't. So, Caren, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on that and what you might like to add and introduce yourself. And then before we close out, we'll let you know how to get in touch with each one of us.
So, I love that we do this because it's so interesting how you and I do similar yet different work. So what I do with people, I'm Caren Cooper and I'm a certified trauma informed mindset coach. And I actually, when Kelly was talking about your limiting beliefs and your old programming, that's what I help people shift in my program in what I do with people. It's really understanding your old programming, your old limiting beliefs, your adaptive behaviors, and shifting the mindset towards them, and really at the end having an identity evolution. To that point, though, um, that may not be identity evolution. May be like, well, what the hell? So, because I get it, because I was there too when I started, working on the mindset stuff, and even now, what I'm finding is that there's a million ways to skin a cat. Okay. There's so much information out there right now, and that's amazing and wonderful and fabulous, but can be also incredibly overwhelming. Okay. And so it doesn't matter where you are on your journey, I feel like, because every day is something new and something changing. And no, you should do it this way. And no, but do it this way. And no, add this here and put this there and do this and this. And it could just be like, oh my God, I don't even know what to do anymore and what's going on. And what I was finding for myself was, am I, what's going on here? So that was one of the questions I was asking myself is, what's going on here? Why am I bucking this? Why am I overwhelmed by this? Really, what's the honesty behind the honesty? And part of what Kelly was saying is true. It didn't feel good. It wasn't that I was resisting it. I was resisting it because it just didn't feel right to me. So the resistance wasn't not doing it for my business, because I didn't want to do it for my business. And it was like a form of procrastination or something. It wasn't about the fear of doing it. It was the, I don't love this part of it.
Right.
And that's right now. You know what I mean? That could be at some point down the line, maybe I'll feel a little bit differently. And it's also, why don't I really love this? So it's really like asking yourself the questions like, what's going on? Because like Kelly was saying, it's about guidance. It's like, what feels good to you? So like, that's the other thing. Like, you're an entrepreneur and social media and you have to post out there and do this and do that and the other thing. And what I was also finding, it was like, what's the energy behind all of that? So if you're putting out a post just to put out a post because you feel like you should put something out there because people need to see it a million, it's like 21 times or something like that. It's a lot of touches need to be made in order for people to see what to see what you're doing. And that could also be overwhelming. So it's like, oh no, I got to post, I got to make sure I had this and whatnot. And what I was finding was that my energy behind my post wasn't there. So of course they weren't going to resonate with anybody because they weren't resonating with me. So what I've recently done is if I don't feel like I have something to say, I don't. I don't. I just don't post. I know I'm probably ruffling some feathers here, but that's what's feeling good for me right now. It doesn't mean I'm not doing my business. It doesn't mean that I'm resisting it per se. I post, when I feel like it's for the general population, I post quite often, quite frankly. You know what I mean? I do. But at the same time, it's the energy behind what was going on that I was like, wait, this isn't, I was also starting to feel burnout from it, to be honest with you. And I do breath work. And that's what I'm saying. Like I do breath work on a daily basis. And I, try to manage my stress as much as possible and because it can be a lot. And there's not complain. You mean it's not complaining, by the way, at all. It's to say that you have to do what works for you. Okay. I'm very much a person of being, authentic is thrown around a lot. I've always been the person who's like, be yourself, and the right people will come along and, and find you. And that's always been my mantra. And I think that's important. And you may be insecure about yourself because you may be on the beginning of your journey and you may be feeling like a little bit insecure about things and whatnot. But there's an inner knowing that you have about your fully expressed self. Because a lot of times we twist and turn and, we're not our fully expressed selves for whatever reason. Because, oh no, but you should be doing it this way. And you should, and this should, by the way, we shouldn't should on ourselves anyway, but that's not the point. So you're shrinking and twisting and turning, but there's somewhere inside of you that you really do know who you are at the core. At the core. And so that's what I mean when it feels right for you. Because at the core, you're just like, you know what? No. I understand what they're saying and I appreciate that they're successful and I appreciate that this information is out here, but I'm gonna do it in my own time in a way. And also it's I think you take little bits of what people are saying because one sort of person says it this way is the great way, and another person says the complete opposite of that. And then you left like, what the hell do I do now? And so that's where that's where it's like the limiting beliefs come in. That's where the negative self-talk comes in. It's like, oh shit, what do I do? Am I doing this right? I don't know if I'm doing it. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? And that's where it's like, wait a minute. And when you feel that way, when you're like, oh crap, and you're feeling like, what do I do? Be aware of it. Have the awareness is the huge notice it. Okay. Notice it and be aware of it. And where am I coming from right now? Ask yourself that question. Where am I coming from right now? What's going on here right now? Do a couple of breathing things, also help regulate your nervous system. But then say to yourself, you know what? Does this feel good to me right now? What feels good to me to do right now to push my business forward, to push my business in a different direction? Oh, I like what that person had to say. You know what? I'm going to use that. Oh, that person says this. I'm going to use that. And this coming from a person who, by the way, sells a course and also has herself been taking courses. But it's also a question of, and this is the last thing I want to say, because I actually made a post about this recently, and I'm just going to reiterate this as well. A lot of times we're looking for a course or something, and I know I sell one, so this is ironic. But my point being is that we think it's the next thing that's actually going to help us. It's like the shiny object syndrome. Okay. So again, ask yourself, where am I coming from? Because the shiny object is, I was a victim of this myself, or I should say victim, but nonetheless, I did this myself. Where it's like, wait, this will help me. No, this course will help me. This course will help me. And what was going to help me was me. That's the reality. You're the only person who can help yourself. Okay. And that's when I found what the mindset work that I do. And that's what I help with people because what I do is you're the cause and the effect. Right. So I want you to understand that you are the cause and the effect. So it's a beautiful thing because you're the cause, but then you can make the choice to make the change to say, you know what? No, I don't want to do this anymore. So that's, you always have a choice, by the way. Just a fun fact, you always have a choice. And when you're looking for a shiny object, it's really you're looking for external rather than internal. So really, it's
Mhm.
all about, it boils down to who you are. Boil To bring this to an end, it boils down to who you are at the core, and loving yourself and trusting yourself. And I know some of you are like, well, I can't do that. Well, that's where I'm going to end this now, but because I know Kelly's going to ask where we find me. So I'm just going to give that information to you now, because that's where I would help you do is, I'll help you, I'll help you become become a different version of you, and leave all that old programming and old limiting beliefs behind, and become a clearer, clarity, you have more clarity, more confidence. And, you just, oh, wait, I feel more secure in myself and what I'm doing. That's what I do. That's my course on Screw Yourself. That's what I do, and that's what I help you do. So, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on a Facebook, on Instagram. It's all going to be. We're going to post this on YouTube, and all the information is going to be there on YouTube. And my Calendly link, I think I'll put there as well, because so I welcome conversations. So it's this. You know what I do. So if you have a conversation with me, it's just a conversation about what it is, and you know what, if it's right for you, may not be right for you. I don't know, but it's a conversation. It's not a hard sell and whatnot. I give you some tricks and tips and whatnot, and then we figure it out from there. So that's what I am and what you can do and how to fight.
Awesome, Karen. Thank you for sharing that. And I love everything you said. It's just, it can be overwhelming out there. There's a lot of noise out there and it's confusing. And shiny object syndrome is something that a lot of us can fall for. And ultimately, it is an inside job. It's not about blame. It's about empowerment, realizing we created this, we can uncreate this and have something that feels better, that is more resonant with who we are in any moment. And so you heard a little of what Karen does. I call my work body mindset work because I feel that our beliefs, our mindsets are anchored in our physical bodies. They are the outpicturing of what's going on in our minds. And I work on a level with clients that allows these to transform at the source, at the root, and at the point in which they're anchored, so that our bodies literally will unwind and release them. But I also work across all timelines and dimensions with people to work with their guides and spirit beings to help release these patterns that may be generational as well, and help them know who they are, what they want, how their soul is guiding them, what feels right, how their body's responding, if they have just a knowing, if they have a vision of something, if it feels good to them or not. And remember, whenever change is something that you're facing, you may feel some fear just because it's something new, and that's normal. And we can both help you discern that that's what's going on for you versus being triggered and having something you really need to deal with. Change is something our subconscious mind does not like. It's natural for a little fear to kick in. So we both help you through all of that. And my contact information also will be with this post or on YouTube. My website is letyourinnerlightshine.com. I too am open to a pitch-free chat just for information purposes, and get to know each other and get your questions answered and help you find what's next for you. So thank you, Karen, for the opportunity
Yep.
to chat about this today. I love it. Do you have any final words?
Nope, I'm good.
No? You're good. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Remember, be you. Be your authentic self, make choices that are correct for you, use others as an example, as a starting point if you need to, modify, choose what's right for you, and make your contribution to this world from that authentic place. Bye for now.